If you want to improve your wedges, pure your irons and rip your driver, you don't need 3 different swings. You need 3 simple moves, one for your backswing, one for impact, and one for your through swing that changes everything. Get these right and every club in your bag improves instantly. I'm sure you fall into the trap in working on one area of your golf game until it's perfect and you've never ever quite got there. Well, today I'm going to bring you 3 areas of change for your golf swing that are going to incrementally help each other. You cannot work on just a backswing if you do not work on a through swing. I see it all of the time. Golfers trying to work on this perfect takeaway, and they never quite get it. And in the process, they're hitting the ball more offline. Today, I want to work on the backswing, the impact condition, and your through swing, and make it cohesive. Make all 3 areas talk to each other. It's going to improve your ball striking. It's going to improve your angle of attack, path line, and the biggie, it's going to improve your distance. So, to start with, let's talk about backswing. More than anything that I see on my mat are hips sliding to the right, spines tipped to the left towards your target. And before you know it, you've got steep backswings cutting across it and slicing it out to the right. So what I want you to do is start to think about how you use your lower half and your upper half in your backswing. And the way we're going to do that is by use of the TheraBand. We're going to take the TheraBand around our neck and we're going to start to work on our backswing. And we're going to put our feet together, get ourselves in our posture, and we're going to push this TheraBand away from our chest. And as we do that, we're then going to step towards the target. Step towards the target and push the TheraBand away from our chest. No rotation, just a simple step and push away. Then what I want you to do, instead of your hands going in the direction your lead foot is traveling in, your hands are going to go in an opposite direction. They're going to move away from your lead foot. Now all of a sudden you'll see that my trail hip starts to tuck back inside itself. Then I'm going to move the grip around my body, and as I push the band to the floor, what happens is I find myself more in forward flexion. As I stepped across, I've now put energy into my lead foot here. Now I've got energy into my lead foot, I can now start to feel a differential between upper body and lower body. There is not a golfer in the world that does not have their trail hip inside their trail foot. So trail hip inside their trail foot at the top of their backswing. What this does is makes their spine lay away from the target. Pressure at the top of the backswing is in their lead foot, so that when they pull the club down, that lead foot can start to open the hip up. Let me show you. So now I've stepped towards the target, I've pushed the band away. All of a sudden, when I'm arriving to the top, I can feel the energy moving into my lead foot. At that point, all of a sudden, I can feel the energy into my lead foot as I pull the club and push the leg. All of a sudden, I get those 2 energy sources colliding, and I suddenly get myself down and from the inside. So tip number 1 is how we start to use our feet with the energy in the grip. And as you do this, you'll feel your hips open up more. So now we've got ourselves in a really nice spot at the top of our backswing where we feel energy on our lead foot, spine is in forward flexion, and what that's going to feel is that your arms are going to get lower. The arms are then going to pull themselves a bit more in front of your chest, and you can find out a little bit more about that in this video here. Remember, the grip is important. And if you've got a good grip, the face takes care of itself. But not only that, if you've got a good grip, you need a good golf glove. And GX golf gloves have been a supporter of good golf coaching from its inception. I can't recommend these gloves enough. The quality and the price point are unmatched on the market. Do head over and check out their website, gxgolfgloves.com, where you can find all of their products at fantastic prices. Enter my code GOODCOACHING at checkout to receive 10% off your order. Go try them out. I know you will not be disappointed. So at the top of the backswing, I've now got energy in my lead foot, and I now start to pull on this golf club. And this is where tip number 2 comes in, of how we want to get rid of early extension. how we want to pull ourselves back in posture down through strike so that I can start to feel like I get more postural angle in my through swing, which starts to deliver good angles of attack and good face to paths. Face to path is the bend you see in the sky. You see a negative value, the ball will bend left. If you see a positive value, the ball will bend right. It's got nothing to do with push draw, pull draw, all of that absolute garbage. Ball bend left is a draw. Ball bend right is a fade or slice. Manage that face to path value and you will take control of your golf swing, I promise you, forever. So now we've got ourselves moving the force from our trail foot to our lead foot on the way back. Loading the right foot can be loaded by pushing off of it or moving into it. I would really advise you to do the former. The latter moves you across, hitches up your right hip and gets you in all sorts of mess. So now we've got the energy going from trail foot to lead foot in your backswing, which opens your hips up, gets your chest more flexed forwards. Now on the way down, I want to think about the energy going from toe to heel. And as you start to get that club in toe to heel, I want you to feel like everything is going to shift towards the heels of the feet on the way down. So you're going to push all of the energy back into the toes of the feet. And I want you to take this golf club halfway down the shaft with your trail hand. And when you do that, now all of a sudden what I want you to do from the top of that backswing is pull yourself into impact with that trail hand, lifting the shaft parallel with the floor. And what you'll feel is that you can get more and more forward flexion without running into the ground. Because when a golfer early extends, they unload the shaft to the floor. Then they try and put more posture in and they run into the ground. So what you need to do to improve your impact condition is shift the energy back into the heels of the feet, get the shaft unloading parallel to the floor. Can you see that? Unloading parallel to the floor. That will now start to make you feel how those grip pressures that you can find in this video up here, one of my very first videos, the product and the production is not quite as good as it is now. That could be up for debate for some people, but the information is fantastic. We are opposing the sag and bend of this club shaft. So now all of a sudden, when I've got to the top, I split my grip out, I take myself into strike, and I now start to feel how this weight goes into the heels of the feet, the right arm goes long, and the shaft is parallel to the floor, which is how I'm then going to feel strike down at the bottom of the golf ball, which feels like I can get myself more bent over the ball and shaft more parallel to the floor. Now I've got myself in a situation where I can get myself more in forward bend, pressure back into the heels of the feet and the shaft parallel to the floor. I'm now in posture. I've now got grip pressure that opposes the sag of that shaft to the floor, which now gets me in more side bend and postural angles at the end. Now we've got the feeling in the backswing, in the impact condition. Now I want to get you balanced at the end. And it's all about making sure that this trail shoulder really continues to move forwards and overtake the lead hip. Now all of a sudden, because we've got the energy shifting into the heels of the feet and the shaft is parallel to the floor, look at how my right shoulder's engaged, look at how my left heel is engaged. Now I need to continue and allow that right shoulder to move forwards. Now my trail arm is way more across my chest. None of this out to the right and up nonsense, garbage. This right arm gets across us. It starts to move across us and finishing lower. And the more you do that, the more you'll feel the right side of your body starting to unravel into strike here. So with that right side, now starting to feel like it can pivot around that lead heel that you created in your downswing because you had a good backswing. All of a sudden, you put all of these entities together, all of a sudden you start getting yourself into a really nice shape at the end of your through swing, and you start to line everything up. The backswing is the precursor for impact. The impact is a precursor for through swing. So if you are going down the range working on one area time and time and time again and you're getting no further, it's because you're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. You need to look elsewhere. And when I work with clients, I have to work on one area, improve it to the point that I can't improve that area anymore, let's say a backswing, until I work on a through swing. We've got two sides of the golf swing. We've got to the left of the ball and to the right of the ball. Improving this part of the golf swing can only reach a certain point before you have to start improving this side of the golf swing. They mirror each other, they talk to each other. And what you end up with when both sides talk to each other, which I've discussed in these 3 tips today, you suddenly end up with an impact condition starting to look way more form and function than more like hinge and bracket. Hopefully that's been really insightful. Do consider subscribing while you're here and drop me a comment on anything that I've covered today that might have got your interest. Thanks so much for watching. That, my friends, is good coaching.